order. Did I do it again? If you would. Okay, this is the Development Review Board meeting for October in the town of North Hero. And we are calling the meeting to order at 6:30 on October the 9th. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Are there any general public comments? Then we will move for the first hearing. Prior to that, though, I would like to just ask the board to introduce themselves.
Patty LaBounty.
Christine Salambier.
I'm Delcy Durham.
I'm Diana Meehan.
And we have one other member, I think, is working to get on. Diana is not here to run the meeting tonight. So as vice chair, that's my job. So please hang in there with me. She is almost halfway around the world at this time, and very much appreciating that fact that she's on board and conscientious as chair in participating in this meeting with us, so that we have the required quorum to be able to proceed.
Here's Chip.
Hello, Chip. Would you just introduce yourself?
Chip
Thank you.
Porter. Oh, wait.
Thanks, Chip. And Chip is an alternate, but tonight he's going to serve as one of the voting members for the hearings. The first application is 2025-68 DRB. It is a subdivision review. The applicant is Colleen Joyce, and the location is 259-263 Abnaki Road. This was a recessed hearing from last month, and Colleen is here. Would you like to speak to us?
Yes, unfortunately, the designs were not done properly. So I'm hoping to recess until December so I can get everything back on track again. So unfortunately, the gentleman was giving, when we were subdividing the other property, too much land. So we're kind of starting at the beginning again.
So you're formally asking for a
please.
recess. We typically recess month by month and to the date certain for the next meeting.
Oh.
And you can just put in a request to our zoning administrator, who is also our clerk, and Danielle will be able to bring that to the board so that we formally recess it at our next meeting to the December meeting, if that is the timeline. This way, just in case everything comes together more quickly, you would be on the hearing for the next time.
Right, I just figured you're sick of looking at me, been here since July.
So for DRB 2025-68 DRB, we recess it to November 13th at 6:30. Thank you and good luck. So we will move on to the second hearing, which is application 2025-60 DRB. This is a conditional use review. The owner applicant is Lucas Campbell, and 219 Station Road. And this was recessed at the last meeting with several questions that Lucas was going to address and return this for this meeting. Would you like to come forward?
Sure. Yeah, so I took some time and put together some supporting documents that were submitted.
Excuse me.
Oh, 1 minute.
You
yes,
should remind people that the interested parties, that they're still under oath, and if there's any new interested parties, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. See. So, with this, are there interested parties that were here? You are still under oath? You are still under oath. Are there new? I'm going to ask you to take the oath. Could you please say your name? And Mike, would you please say that, or say, acknowledge, I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. Thank you. Thank you, Diana.
So I updated the application a little bit to correct some of the foreseen errors in the putting Green Mountain Marine Services as the owner versus me, clerical, things like that. I also updated the application to include asking for the conditional use to allow for utilities, given all appropriate state permits and such, obviously for power, for water and everything. Because it was brought up in the last hearing that in some condition back in the 70s that was excluded from being allowed on the property. I also updated the application to request that we be allowed to do public events at the property because we donate the space to the volunteer fire department here in town every year. Did last year, and that, as long as I know Rick's at it, happened there. And I figured if we're getting into the details of it, we should have that on the record that it's allowed to happen there. Because yeah, we donate some storage to them and then they use one of the buildings for their annual flea market that they do every year as a fundraiser. And then I updated the application as well to request. Well, we updated the site map to show all the setbacks and everything. Chip was concerned about that. We did not get the wetland survey done in time to have that on the map for review. But I figure there's no reason the DRB can't put a condition on there that all wetland setbacks and rules will be followed as per the state wetland guidelines. And obviously, once we have that done, I've been in touch with a surveyor to come out and do it, but everyone seems to be very booked this time of year, as you can imagine. Trying to get things done, partly when it's dry, partly before snow's flying. So he'll be out in like, what is the date? He said beginning of September, end of October, beginning of September. For that, so that unfortunately is not on there, but again, a condition easily solves that. And since we're not building anything, it's really just the use of the buffer zone. The 50 feet off of the class 2 that I suspect is in the back corner. It's not documented as being there at this time. Then we also updated the application to request that all of the buildings get zoned for storage / light industrial. the thought being there, if you want me to be working inside as much as possible, having more indoor space available for that kind of work would satisfy the, it'd make it easier for us to work inside versus being in just one building all the time. Especially since they sit largely empty for 6 months out of the year. And yeah, I think that was all the changes that were made on this application. And then I went through and addressed all of the concerns about parking and everything. I did the best we could to come up with an estimate for parking spaces without going out there and line striping the entire gravel parking lot to prove it. But conclusion is there's sufficient parking for 25 to 36 cars, which more than satisfies the needs that we have. And 12 to 15 boat and trailers hooked together, if you park them in there, just on the existing gravel parking spaces. Which is more than enough for what we're proposing. The one time that would ever come close to getting maxed out would be, I think, during the flea market, but I'll leave that up to the DRB's discretion on how they want to address that situation. The traffic concerns, what we're suggesting for business operation out of there with the light industrial is 8 to 14 round trips a day in and out of the property, as a rough estimate. Which is no greater than the marina up the road at the end. Coming and going when their boats are in season, they generate far more traffic than that. The seasonal firewood processing that I was talking about, 2 to 4 round trips a day or additional trips a day, not even round trips. If you delivered that much wood, again, wood delivery is a very sporadic thing. I would, if it happened 2 times a week in the fall, that's a pretty busy. Again, minor on the traffic concerns. And then as far as the additional storage goes, we're talking a nominal number of trips a year in and out of there to drop a boat off and pick a boat up. Again, no substantial change in traffic pattern, especially relative to, say, the marina's having an event up there with live music. They're getting 100+ people showing up there to go be on their boats for the weekend. Generates way more surge loading of traffic than anything we're suggesting. So then there was concern, going through my notes here, about screening, and setbacks for the seasonal boats and equipment storage. I put the setback lines on the map, and I also put in some nice large things where I'm proposing screening, which is really the best we can do without changing the entire roadway and circulation. Yeah, I mean, I propose putting trees everywhere it's practical to put trees. That doesn't interfere with the curb cut and still allows for a line of sight each direction, left and right, looking out as you're leaving the property. I submitted for a variance for setback use, didn't get that in time to be part of this hearing, so that will come up later. But proposed, not that it's relevant for this decision, but I put in an application to decrease the setback towards the state highway building fence line. Just so we could go closer to that. Which I talked to the state AOT department, because working with them at the drawbridge, and they could care less. What?
But as you said, that's not part of this application.
Yeah, it's not part of this application. Yeah. I tried to fit it in, didn't fit. I'm sorry, I'm going through my notes here. Stormwater, no additional expansion proposed, so no changes to the stormwater conditions. I'm not changing the parking lot size or anything. And any future development, if it were to happen, would comply with Vermont Stormwater Manual, and requirements as state requires. The wastewater and water supply, at this point, we don't have water. I don't have a wastewater permit. I'm not planning on putting wastewater in there, but I would rather have that be there. Obviously, with the condition that it will be approved through Vermont DEC, if and when that ever happens. Again, I'm not asking any construction part of this permit application, but just going through all the steps. Yeah, so then for the conditional use standards, capacity of community facilities. None of this requires any new municipal services or anything. There's no increase to fire, police, or road impacts as we've been over. It's very minimal usage. Utilities. It's already hooked up, so there'd be no additional change to what's existing there. Again, before I own the property, I don't know when they put power in there, but at least 10 years ago, I would guess. So then we get into the hot topic, which was the character of the area in the district. This is in the rural lands district. I'm proposing light industrial use, storage use, and consistency with low commercial activity, low intensity commercial activity, sorry. The preference is to conduct any work that happens there indoors whenever practical. However, there are times that outdoor work might need to happen. Any business has that. And in the dead of summer, no one wants to be inside with the garage door shut. That being said, obviously, if we can work inside with the door open, do that if possible. As far as the character of the area and the screening, we're proposing using native conifers, which will be densely planted along the east side. There is currently a wooded buffer along the west-ish side, northwest of the circle or half moon of the property shape. However, they are all ash trees that have the ash borer actively in them. They are going to need to come down before they come down on top of property. I have avoided doing that until leaves and everything were down and this process was over. But if it detracts from the current screening, I propose to plant more conifers along that tree line. We've been over the traffic and everything. There's the renewable energy fit in the state or the town bylaws. We're not building anything. I did actually inquire about solar earlier this year. They all told me it's not practical on those buildings, and since just the way it's all set up. They don't face the right direction, this, that, the other. We got quotes from 3 different people and all 3 told us the same, that it's not a good idea. So as far as development standards go, 7.1, all proposed activities. Here, you
I
want to
think
keep going
you've-
through?
No, I think you've
Okay.
pretty well covered those
Alright.
as you've gone through. There may be questions and you can get back to that.
Yep.
At this point, I'd like to ask the board members if they have any questions.
I did, if after, go ahead, Christine.
Thanks, Deanna. Let me go back up to the firewood processing. Are logs coming in and are you gonna be cutting up the logs and then using a log splitter?
It's all one machine that does
It's all
all of
one
that.
machine?
Yeah. We talked about this last time. It's the attachment on a skid steer, which is a tractor type thing and just goes on there. And it all happens there. This the firewood processing is a very minor side hustle. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a full-time, 7 days a week, 5 days a week or whatever. We're gonna be there processing firewood. The intention was if I have guys who are sitting around doing nothing. After, we get done a project at noon or whatever, it's like, all right, go split firewood for a couple hours. Finish out the day, do something sort of productive. It's not like I'll have a team there at all times.
When you say logs coming in, could you be more specific so that we can understand?
If
We're
I
talking
knew-
truckloads of logs of certain length or,
If I knew, I would tell you. My vision was just, behind our pickup trucks, when we do clearing jobs, stack the logs there. I mean, we don't own any, and I don't have any intention of owning over the road log hauling equipment. I'm not trying to get in the forestry business at all. So I don't think there would be tractor trailer loads. But this is a new thing I haven't even started yet because I don't have a space to do it. So a lot of unknowns here, unfortunately. If I were an existing operation moving in, knew how it all worked, I would have more information. But
board members, other questions?
I do.
Diana.
Diana,
First of all, I want to thank you, Lucas, for being so responsive to the questions that we had last month. You gave us a detailed responses here, which are greatly appreciated. But I have questions on hours of operation and lighting. Last month, you testified that the hours would be Monday to Thursday with an occasional Friday, with the hours being 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
I said,
That's what, I went back and listened. I'm just, that's what you said, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Here, you're going Monday to Friday on your new information, Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., which is an extreme change.
so several reasons. First, I think I said I don't want to pigeonhole myself into being committed to anything yet on the last meeting for hours of operations, because I said what our current hours of operations are, but that is changing. I changed it to what I changed it to for a couple reasons. One, sometimes for the indoor storage, we start work at 7. Down in Grand Isle. Some of my employees live in Swanton. One of them lives in Swanton, one lives in North Europe. Driving by on their way to work, if there's a boat sitting out front, I tell them, stop in and put that in the buildings before coming to work. So they would be there before 7 o'clock. And I didn't want to preclude myself from having the ability to do that. It's not like a high intensity activity, but nonetheless. That's why I went for the 6 o'clock start time, and I changed it to 8 o'clock because middle of summer, when it's laid out till 10 o'clock, we're out on the water. Again, coming back at the end of the day, sometimes it's later in the day. I don't want to get a phone call that I rolled into the parking lot at 7:30 after a 12.5 hour day, parked the equipment, and am in trouble with the town zoning bylaws. So that's why I'm requesting the longer hours. Whether I think that's what will be a regular thing, no. But I don't want it in stone writing that I can't have that option. I'm glad if it's something like it's limited condition that limited early hour, the normal hours are allowed or something along those lines. I'll leave that up to you guys, right?
You also added weekends, and then you say occasional, but 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. weekends.
Yeah,
What-
same kind of thing. If I've got a broken piece of equipment or something that I have in the shop, a lot of times it's usually just me personally and working on equipment. Again, I don't want to be in there and getting told, or even we have boats, weekends are when most of our boats show up for storage. And again, we have to use a tractor to put them in the buildings. Again, I just don't want to expose myself to being in violation for doing occasional things like that. That's why they're occasional. That was the logic.
Okay, I just want to also, at the, just as the last comment I'll make about this, towards the end of the information that you just forwarded to us, under hours of operation, you do state all proposed uses will occur during normal business hours, preventing evening or night disturbances. So, I think most people would consider up till 8 o'clock a nighttime. I guess I'm a little concerned about the change of the hours I understand what you're saying, but, just bringing it to your attention. And then under lighting, you state, lights will be used only during approved business hours with exception for safety and security. And I know last time you testified about perhaps having motion detector lights. Is that what you mean by security?
Yeah, I mean, I pulled that verbiage straight out of the town bylaws. That's what it specifies.
But is that what I understand, and I understand the need for security. I'm not questioning that at all. I'm just confirming that when you're saying that and quoting it back to us, is it the motion detector lights that you testified to last time? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, the one outdoor light that we have is on a motion detector.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it for now. Thank you, Lucas.
Yep.
Other questions?
Well, first, just a housekeeping point of order, the additional application that we received today is,
That's not, we're not considering
we're not considering the setback waiver?
no.
No, okay, good, we discussed that. Very good. So I am curious about water. You do get, are you on town water or do you?
There's no water there.
There's no water?
No,
How would pressure washing happen? I know that was brought up and then,
I think what Dom does in the past is he fills up a tank at his house up the road and drives it down,
okay,
pressure washes.
okay. So no water, no plans for water.
At this point, I have no plans for water, but I also don't want to exclude myself from in the future
Yeah.
having that option.
Right, right,
Obviously in full compliance with all the state requirements.
okay. I'm a little concerned about processing, anything that might, contribute to the emerald ash borer, expansion problem in North Hero. We have right now a waiting list of trees to be taken down because we can't afford to. I know many people have spent thousands of dollars on taking down trees or trying to prevent their trees from being infested with emerald ash borers. We're still under a federal quarantine. And I worry about the idea of bringing ash trees from surrounding islands into North Hero and leaving them here for processing. But I am not a tree person. I'm not an expert. So I believe that this is a significant enough issue that we should consult with our town tree warden about if we need to have any special conditions or just what he believes is appropriate for this area.
I had that same concern because I thought I had read somewhere and I couldn't find it written anywhere else that, when you have ash trees that are infected, cut down in your area, they're supposed to be disposed of as close to where they came down as possible. So I have the same exact concern, and I don't know if you had mentioned that you're cutting down, on the last meeting, you're cutting down ash trees. You have a contract for that, for the state or something? Is that what
Yeah, that's just happening in the state park.
okay, and
That's
so will
not-
those
that-
trees
no,
come here?
none of that was
Okay,
coming
okay,
here.
okay,
No,
all right, that was my question,
yeah.
okay.
And, I still have that concern though about, if we need to have special conditions on types of wood processed or anything, and I think we should have the tree warden weigh in on what would be appropriate in this situation.
Would that then extend to all the other people that process firewood in North Hero? 'Cause I know there's a guy over on East Shore that does, and I think there's another one as well.
I don't know about, previous businesses that have been held, approved, yeah, but right now, your application is what's in front of us, so.
Very well. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what they say. I know the state as a function doesn't try, if they try not to move firewood in our town. And make it all kiln dried, but if they do for the parks and stuff, but that's why we're looking at doing the harvesting at each park and processing it at each park. to prevent that movement. But I honestly don't know if there's rules about moving it. I mean, I see all the big tree companies that come in and cut down all this ash trees. Haul it off island and bring it to wherever they go.
Obviously, that is something of concern of every single one of us here in the islands. There's no question about that. I have what I consider more than my share of dead ash trees. And I think most of us would say the same thing. And that I think probably does warrant looking into and in terms of any limitations that we might have to put in as a condition
Yeah.
on that part of the business.
Oh, Delcy,
Yes, Chip.
I'd like to come back to this issue after we talk about some of the things that are currently permitted and some of the modifications that seem to be of greater priority to the applicant. So currently, his boat business, storage and moving boats and that sort of thing is a grandfathered activity. And so it might be important to figure out if there's some way that that's going to increase more than it already is. So that's one part of the boat business, and it seems that inside the barns is going to be used for boats and some boat-related activities, and that isn't really a significant increase in use. So those are two basic permitted activities. I'm not sure that the board is particularly I don't think it's needed to be particularly worried about the utilities. Although if there's going to be if there are going to be staff that's working in the heated shop and barns, perhaps we should think about just some portalets or something being required. But again, this is activity that's related to the already permitted activity. So I have one question that's maybe pretty easy to answer. And that is, and so that goes to the issue of hours of operation too, because currently the bringing boats into the storage area and taking them out is permitted, so might be interesting to nail those hours down along some of the questions that Diana was asking. But then there's the issue of a couple other issues that are related to this, and one of them is what is intended, meant by permitted for light industrial use. And that requires some thought. Then the firewood thing is an issue too, but until we get the circulation issues down for the permitted issues, as well as perhaps other activities that might go on inside the barns, the firewood is sort of sort of distracting from what seems to be the core of permitted use, as well as the additional activity that might be related to the interior activities. So those are my general thoughts about this. And I don't know exactly how to proceed from that, except that maybe it would be the two questions would be what activities will significantly increase the amount of boat activity, and what is meant by light industrial use?
Okay, so to answer your first question, increase in boat activities, the only increase would be if we're allowed to store boats outside. Outdoor storage. Otherwise, it's still gonna be as many boats as we can fit in the buildings is what I am permitted to do now and what we'll continue to do. Given the current allotted space, I would anticipate it being in the realm, if we could even find the customers, of 10 to 20 boats. If we can get the setback variance, which we're not talking about now, it might increase a little bit more. So
I'm not recalling specifically, but did you indicate a space for outdoor storage on your site plan?
Yeah. Inside the setback areas, in the grassy field to the east and in between the buildings. Again, not the full length because of the setbacks and the
And that's
buildings.
the 10 to 20 boats?
Yeah,
Yeah, outside.
outside, yeah.
And that's the one that you don't know if it meets the wetland setback.
Right.
Well, some of it, the wetland setback is almost completely in line with the town setbacks, but yes, there should be a condition in there that all activities in the wetland or wetland buffer will adhere to state wetland laws. And I'm totally happy doing that. I don't have the specifics on where the wetland is. As of right now, there's no wetland delineated. I know, just knowing what I know, that there is a little bit of wetland in the back corner where the state highway department funneled all their water. Fully aware of that. Tried to get someone in there to do the delineation before this meeting and couldn't. He's still on the schedule. Luke Hart is his name. He said end of October, beginning of September, he'd be up to do it, and I can submit that map to the town once I have it done as well. But for purposes of a DRB conditional use application, I would think that putting in the condition that any wetlands will be, setbacks will be adhered to for proper use is my proposed approach at this time.
And then a second question on light industry.
Yeah.
My understanding from what you said last time was, you have like subcontracts or contracted out use of some of the facilities.
Yep. So currently it's Dominic with Green Crane is in the building. There was, when I bought the properties, the intention was that we were gonna move in there with our operation, which has a lot of stuff going on, unknown, changing all the time, as I think you may have caught on. Poke my nose in the cleaning business ideas. I also said in the last one, I've been in discussions about taking over and buying a facility in Grand Isle. That's moving ahead. I've been in discussion and we have not done anything about it because I wanted to get through this process again before making any commitments, but with Cedar Ledge Builders in South Bureau, they are starting to try to do modular affordable housing units. They want an indoor space to do that in. And I was like, well, I might have something. All pending if I can get this property zoned appropriately, because it's been used in that same capacity, but unzoned in the past. So they're talking about, they would like to rent that, the heated building to do their manufacturing of the panels that then they build these new eco houses with. So they might be one of the people moving in. I forget who asked this question. I'm just looking at everyone, I guess.
I just, Chip
Yeah.
asked the question, I just
Yeah. So
reintroduced it.
that's one of the options. I am waiting to see what kinds of stipulations are put on the property before moving forward. But in my dream, they would move in, I would move in Grand Isle to this other property, and that would eliminate a lot of the noise of welding and grinding and machinery that concerns the neighbors, as they are just lowly carpenters, as they put it. And would be working inside. It might be a good fit. I don't know, but I think the
Okay.
bylaw said light industrial is one of the.
Understood. Any other questions on the board?
So it's difficult to create sort of a contractual document using the words occasionally or as much as possible. Would you be willing to for some of those things where we've talked about the hours or inside outside to say not to exceed like twice a month or 8 hours a day, or something like, some sort of restriction as instead of using the word occasionally to be more quantifiable.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, I'm sure there's some verbiage in there. I mean, the bylaws say standard operating hour or business hours. What are those? I guess would be my question back to the board.
Well, in the past, for some of the other things that have, that we've had from around town, we've actually put hours, specific hours down, that have, met with, the conditions of, and the character of the neighborhood. So that is something that, if we find the need to do that,
Yeah, no,
we do that.
I know you have the ability to, and I'm just asking what our standard business, because like the state highway department, my neighbors, not here. I know they start work at 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, immediately next door, I don't know what their
with
hours
much
are, but
larger
yeah.
trucks and equipment and
Yeah.
everything we have.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm happy to say like primary business function will be, again, that's not quite as specific as you want, but 90% of business, something along those lines will be 7 to 7. kind of thing.
Yeah, that's all I was
Yeah.
wondering about is if we could. if
We
we
can
could
put
get
some- I think there is a percentage or something we could do. But again, I don't wanna,
And I would say, yeah, not related necessarily to what anyone else is, but what do you need? It's,
I mean, 7 to 5 is a pretty standard day, but then we're usually there a little after 5, packing up. Post work,
right, so,
tailgate meetings.
But
and
something
stuff.
7 to 5 with a 90% or something like that contains it. Right?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable, and in general, I think that's adequate.
I,
Spring and fall get a little more hectic, but we also work shorter days because it's dark out, so. You know,
I think we have a sense of that.
Yeah.
I think we need to move on if there are no further questions in the board, and those people that are interested persons who've identified yourself and have taken the oath, like to entertain any questions from you
No,
or comments.
they're not, they're comments, and, Lucas has, provided us with a huge amount of information. You know, so I just wanted to, what we were just talking about, is not in my
Could I interrupt just to ask you to identify yourself?
cells.
Thank you.
252 Station Road, I'm so sorry. Lucas, in the notes he supplied to the town, to the board, and we received, says that he would mitigate noise by moving activities indoors as much as practical. So that's a kind of loose-ended thing, but he defines light industrial as repairs, fabrication, and equipment maintenance. So just to take that out of your, those are the words you put down. So I wanted to, I'm gonna be as brief as possible. That's a lot of material. So when we came here the last time, we said that when I bought the property in 1986, and Mike and I met and became partners sometime after that. I was aware of the state garage. I was aware of the boat sheds. The boats were stored there. They're taken out in the spring and put back in the fall. And that's the way it's been since 1986 until Dom started doing some things. The noise at the, so that's very intermittent and predictable. And not really noisy at all. And then the state garage, it's pretty predictable. We don't hear it that well because it's just a little bit further away. But it's people, the trucks are loaded, the sand and salt, they go away. And then sometime later they come back. So it's very intermittent, and days can go by that we don't hear any noise at all. So, and farming. I knew there was farming. It was one of the things, you know, it's all around. And the farmers come with their equipment. They come for a day or they come for 2 days. And then they're gone for maybe a month at a time. So it's also intermittent. And it's right there, but you know, it's to be expected. I knew it was gonna happen. We both knew it was gonna happen, and so it has. I wanted to point out just a couple of things based on things that you said, Lucas. I want to point out that in the aerial photograph, there's some very beautiful trees between our house and this, the boat sheds. They all have leaves on them. Now the view, you talk a lot about the opening of our driveway. We can't see the opening of the driveway from our house. It's down somewhere, okay? It's behind a big tree that we have planted. But what we can see directly from the largest window in our house, which it's a bay window that takes up one end of our living room, is right into that dooryard. Absolute straight line. You look at if you look at it and you took a ruler, you would see that the east side of our house, and we know our house, how it's oriented, because we oriented it for our solar panels before we built the house. So it's oriented 10 degrees off solar south to the west. So that we don't face the road, we face slightly off it, okay? So several things. There are no leaves on the trees for 6 or more months of the year. So there's nothing between us to shield us, our big window from. As a matter of fact, in the last couple of years, we've had to pull our blinds down for privacy because lights were coming directly into the living room, big lights. The view from the house is from the house, not the driveway. We don't see, you mentioned that our house would be hit by traffic lights, people going up and down the road. That's not true because of the way we oriented the house, so that would not happen. Okay, and then you mentioned the neighborhood. The characters of the neighborhood, and you mentioned so many places that it's like the neighborhood is the entire south end of North Hero. But that's not how we feel about it. We feel as if our neighborhood is our road. The village has been there since the 19th century. So it does village things, things go on here. And not much has happened on Station Road since the railway closed and people weren't going down to get the train. So that's how we feel about it. We're not talking about, we can't hear anything. The only time we hear anything from the village is when they set off the fireworks for great ice. We don't hear the village. We don't hear the marina. We don't hear any of those places. Okay, but I can tell you what, when there's stuff going on down at the boat sheds that has been going on in the last year or so, we hear it. We hear it loudly. So I just want to make an example that occurred to us. I'm a big supporter of Island Arts. And the barn was a long awaited thing. But there's a house right next to the barn. I mean, when you go up the driveway into that barn, there's the house. And for many, many, many years, that barn, nothing was going on in that barn, not a thing. Now, the people who bought the house, lived in the house, knew that Route 2 was there. And that makes a lot of noise. But what they objected to was having all of a sudden an arts venue with lots of music and indoors and outdoors right next door. So we kind of feel the same way, right across the street. So just comparing it to that. And the board decided to set some limits on what Island Arts could do with time-wise, time of day, and so on. So it seems a reasonable thing to ask, because what we're interested in completely, and mentioned the last time, is light, which I've already said comes right into our house, and noise. And grinding and things like that, just when the equipment that Karina had down there was being pressure washed, and I don't know where that water went, but anyhow, it would be hours with this machine running the whole time. Okay, so we would hear it, it was loud. And as far as the wood, just to make a comparison, I did a little bit of calculating. Let's see my papers. There were so many things. So I was thinking of the wood processing, and that's going to be, it might go on for hours at a time. It might go on for an hour. It might not go on at all. But I looked up the decibels produced by a wood processor that's run by a skid steer. And I found 95 to 125 decibels. So then I used the calculator to calculate the attenuation, meaning how much less of that do we hear up at our house. We have a 500-foot driveway. And it was more than 70 decibels at our house, according to that calculation. And what is determined by organizations that do industrial safety? Anything over 60 to 65 is not good for you. So if you're right next to something that's over 65, and this would be 74 at our house, and 65 to 70 was pronounced annoying and causing people to have difficulty concentrating when it is prolonged. Okay, so that's just an example. And just so Lucas knows, in my former lifetime, in my 20s, and early 30s, my first husband and I had a construction company. So I'm very familiar with the sound that people building things make. Okay, we build our house, right? So it's noisy. It's not as noisy as maybe things Mike did with his shop, but it's noisy. So if your door's open or if your door's closed, it's gonna make a huge difference to us. And we would like to continue to enjoy our house peacefully that we worked so hard to get and we've enjoyed for the last 30 years. So let me see if there's anything else here. So many notes, but I want to be brief. We ask about future expansion for designating it as light industrial / storage rather than storage only. You've already talked about possibly having another business within there or not. So if you do have water and you do sometimes have sewer, I mean, where is that gonna go? Where, I mean, you only have a small spot there. The landscape and screening won't do anything for us. Nothing, anything that you do, given the way the land is configured, it's just not gonna, it's not gonna work for us, because your driveway's there and we're looking right in the door here. So it's up to you to make sure that you're not making enough light and enough noise to really get on our nerves all the time. And the hours of operation, yikes, 6 AM to 8 PM. Too early in the morning and too late at night. So I would appreciate better hours than that, because that's too much. That's just too much. So let's see. Oh, and the firewood, it's seasonal firewood processing. What season?
Fall,
Fall,
that's
Just
generally when
fall?
people buy firewood.
that be
We
all the
have-
time, or would it be year round?
It would be intermittent throughout the year, I suppose. as
So
it's
that's
getting
not
cold.
seasonal, that's, okay, just checking. Let me see. Okay,
Yeah, can we move on to a couple of other interested people who,
yeah, I think I'm done with. I
and
think we did everything.
come back
Yeah.
if you have additional
Mike
point.
has something.
Well, I just want to clarify the lighting thing. I mean, Lucas said about the downward facing motion sensing lighting. The lighting we're talking about is from vehicle headlights. So that's what the issues have been with the crane guy. You know, he comes in the morning, starts, idles his trucks. The headlights are on, because that's the way vehicles are these days. And so those are the lighting, that's the lighting we're talking. Whether in the evening or the morning, it's not the lights on the building, it's the vehicle lights.
Thank you for clarifying that. Other interested parties?
Yeah, excuse me. Real nice. The last meeting, we were talking about outdoor storage and, the votes possibly 60. Now, we've modified that, haven't we?
After getting all the setback lines drawn and measuring things out, that's my guess at this point.
Yeah, it didn't seem possible. 60 votes.
They could be small boats,
Wildflowers or something.
stack a lot of kayaks.
Well, how would you do that?
What? Sorry, that was. Don't worry about that comment.
Okay. Then you mentioned company vehicles. Could you describe what company vehicles are?
Pickup trucks. Cars. No. Whatever equipment we have in sight.
Okay.
Can you also mention heavy equipment, not Genie Entrance? And you also, heavy equipment as well. Now, I saw on your website you have a crane, correct?
Two of them, well, yeah,
So they would be stored on the property as well?
well, probably not anymore in light of development in the last week or two, no. But
They would go to another property that you're purchasing?
that's what it is looking like, but I'm not gonna say that, no, I will not keep a crane on the property. It would be within the setbacks and zonings of outdoor storage. If we need to have it there or in the parking area out front. It'd be temporary between jobs, not
And you're talking about the screening too. I know you're talking about the east and west side, but how about the north side?
I mean, the driveways in the north side,
Correct, but you also have an area there that's not, that. I guess by the state, fence, the state, the state garage to the driveway. There's an open area there too, correct?
yeah, and on the site plan, I had proposed putting trees along that, Portion.
Along that north
Yeah.
side.
yeah, between the state property and the driveway entrance.
Question about the trees and their trees. We can't wait 30 years, I don't think. For your trees to grow. What size trees will you be putting in there?
I mean, whatever you go get, tree at the store is usually 6 to 10 feet tall. I don't know.
6 to 10?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go buy full grown trees unless someone else can help with that
No.
method of screening, but
Just wondering what is that?
cedar trees that you buy at, the farm stand or the greenhouses. They're, I don't know, 6 feet tall, 2 years old, some of the root balls big around.
Okay, any particular variety?
I no. That, as the state or the town bylaws say, local native deciduous species. I or conifer, sorry. I will
The
determine
kind
what,
with the needles on.
the ones with the needles that stay green, yes,
Okay,
yep.
well, there's one other thing, heavy equipment outside. Now, that has not been the way things have been done there. The best of your knowledge, heavy equipment may be something new to store outside.
I mean, Dom's been storing heavy equipment outside for 10
Yeah, well,
years.
that was a whole, excuse me.
I mean, I understand that that's not
Unpermitted.
permitted,
Unpermitted.
not a permitted use currently, and that's why I came here to begin with, was trying to get things back up to standard. Because no one else wanted to or was willing to, or did. So yes, I would like to continue to have the ability to park things on my property.
Or things out in front.
Yeah, it's vehicles and equipment,
Well, I
and
was
such,
just wondering what kind of things they are.
excavators
Huh?
and stuff, from time to time. I mean, every single piece of equipment I own is out on a job site right now and has been for the last month and will be.
Do you own that ex-military piece of equipment that's out there?
The green LCM 6, yeah,
Is it one?
the landing craft, the green landing craft.
That truck, right?
That's not a landing pad. I don't think.
Oh, on the property, sorry, I thought you were talking in general. Yeah, that army truck parked out front, the dump truck,
Yeah,
yeah, that's one of mine.
that, you would leave that there?
I mean, until we need it for something,
I mean, it would not be enclosed, it's gonna stay outside.
yeah. It's not nice enough to like getting indoor treatment,
We just have to look at it.
yes.
Okay, I think we have the answer to that. Do you have other questions? Okay, other interested parties?
Mike Kennedy, 95 Station Road. And I, for one, like this big garage. Putting the trucks out in the road after a snowstorm, because I know it's safe for me to go to the broom. And that doesn't bother me. We hear more noise at different times from Dom's cleaning. And Dom was like a little, when he was 4 acres, he was one of my little kids who went into adulthood. And I admired his work ethic, but I could hear his beep, beep, beep all the time. And that's 95 Station Road, and I know that goes down to 487 Station Road as well. But that's all I'm saying, I don't want noise, and I don't want light pollution, because I like to go outside at night and look at the stuff. Light pollution that been unsatisfactory.
Any other? Yes, please identify yourself.
My name is Sarah McMillan, only just because we've been at both meetings, I just was gonna chime in. You guys had talked about last time, potentially the idea of doing a fence, which I feel like could be a really good solution for both the light and sound, because it would also help reflect the sound back. And so just throwing that out.
I just don't have fancy.
Yeah, you mentioned that last
It
time.
feels very unneighborly, but if that's what we need to do, for someone else to decide. Really up to you.
Calling Joyce, I'm just asking if you did get 10-foot cedars, would that alleviate the lights?
No.
None, oh, no.
There's nothing he could do to
Yeah.
alleviate our concerns.
Other than
Because
move
of
it.
that.
Okay, let's keep it with interested parties and question.
May I
Um,
speak? May I speak?
Yes,
Yeah, I'll be brief. I'm here to support the neighbors and Mr. and Mrs. Heiss. I was at the last meeting. I share the same concerns that have been brought up here. I do think a fence, a nice high fence, would mitigate a lot of the problems. I mostly fear the sprawl of how it will look with the boats on the property coming and going. I think the fence would take care of that. I did have a question about what's allowed. The proposal, we kept talking about boat storage, but on page 9, it says seasonal vehicles, equipment storage. So I guess my question is, it doesn't have to be boats, is that correct? You can store other vehicles like maybe RVs and cars? That's just a question.
Yeah, I mean, we have maybe 3 campers in the buildings, just like behind campers. There are things other than boats. Majority of our customers are boats.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered about that. And I'll just say, I do have a concern about the hours of operation, but it sounds like there may be a solution to that. But I would recommend to think about a nice tall fence if it's possible. That's all.
thank you. Are there any other questions from the board members?
Can I just confirm, so it's Diana Meehan, something with you, Lucas, the updated map that you sent us. As you look at it, with Station Road on the left circling, and the state of Vermont on the right, you had labeled the buildings there as A, B, C1, C2, and D. So I want to make sure I got it right. As I'm looking at the map, going right to left, so from the state property, the first building is A.
Yep.
Would be storage. The second building, B, storage. C1, the smaller one, would be fabrication. C2, storage, and D is the one that's owned by the previous owner. Am I correct in that?
Well, I own that. He rents it from me.
Yeah,
for
okay.
free. But yeah.
But-
Rick's-
But I had the A, B, C, D in the right order, direction.
You have the right order, correct?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from members of the public that are not interested?
We're speculating that you're gonna have, is it Stephen the Pledge? Building module homes in those buildings?
They're not modular homes. I forget the term that they.
Cameras,
Yeah, they're
but
not SIPs.
Okay.
It's Yeah, except they don't want to use that verbiage. That's essentially what it is they're building wall panels and stuff and then bringing them.
Modular.
Yeah, their idea is they're trying to come up with a way to build a starter home for under $200,000 in the state of Vermont. Because their feelings that no one does that anymore, and it was the last time you got one.
We're kind of diverging, but is he answering your question?
Right, so the question is, I don't know how many people would be there. I mean, I would assume you'd have.
It's the same exact, what did that? Hold on, can tell you how many employees he had.
I'm sorry.
It's less than 10,
Less
same
than
as
10.
us.
I mean, because right now we have basically 5 storage areas that it's very quiet. I mean, really not minimal traffic. So this would be a daily.
It's the same amount of staffing that Dom has there currently and has had for a number of years too.
But Kevin, I would assume that he's not there every day.
He stops in most days, like not recently in the past 3 months because he's been building his new shop,
Mhm.
but
So
prior
that
to
would
that,
actually stop in the future. Okay.
well, yeah, unless.
So
I don't know how to answer that.
So I'm just saying that the character of the neighborhood's going to change with especially with the light industrial. Instead of just having the boat storage.
I understand the question. Yes.
Yes, the character area will change. We're doing our best to try to maintain it. That's why we're getting a conditional use permit.
And you've told us,
Christine has a question, Chip, first, and then we'll come to you.
you've told us.
I have a number of questions, but just for the moment, I'd like to come back to the bylaw. And there's 3 issues that have come up that are not really resolved. One of them is F, significant features such as wetlands. We really haven't addressed parking and circulation. And we have a lot of outstanding sort of questions about the location of all exterior storage of areas for material, machinery, and or vehicles. That's K, I, and F. So at some point, we need to come back to that list, particularly those 3. But
You have
I'll
specific
defer to
questions.
your judgment here.
Chip, do you have specific questions about parking, circulation, and storage beyond what the information I provided? Including the number of parking spaces, the entrances, making sure there's clear lines of sight. All of those fun details. Additional traffic per day usage that was in my documents.
Chip, did you hear?
I'll come back
Do
to
you
my
have-
original question was, what activities exceed what is now permitted? I don't think there's a lot of outstanding issues there. What is currently permitted is the boat barn and boat storage. So that, and that's all indoors, and so I think that's pretty well, but then we come to the question of a rather vague undefined notion of what light industrial really means. And we come to the question of exterior storage and materials and parking, circulation, deliveries, outdoor storage of boats, it was raised a question about vehicles besides boats. And then there's the wetlands issue. So I don't know that we're able to, on the basis of what we've actually specified, that we're ready to make some determination on those three things.
I'm going to read you light industry, the definition that is in the bylaws and comes from the state definition. A light industrial facility that meets the performance standards and any other applicable standards in these regulations, including such uses as manufacturing, wholesale trade, sawmills, slaughterhouses, and earth resource extraction. That is what the definition of light industry is per the state. I don't believe that in the character of the neighborhood, the majority of those apply, but that is the state definition of light industry. What we do have from my listening to the concerns of the interested parties and the concerns of the board is that there are concerns about noise, there's concerns about light, there's concerns about outdoor storage, what is being stored outdoors, what work will be done outdoors. And those particular issues you have addressed to a certain extent with some qualifications, I would say, and in terms of not being specific. I think at this point, if there is any other final comments from the applicant, our concerns, I think that you've heard from both the board and the parties, is the lack of specificity. I can't say that word. Specificity. One too many syllables in there. And I think that the concern that Chip is addressing is certain things in terms of storage, boat storage, internal storage, a light industry within the buildings that is has been permitted and grandfathered, etc. Some of the things that are going on outside are the things that have been raised the issues. And in terms of time, we have come, thanks to Lisa's suggestion, to some kind of way to qualify that. I think the other part would be if you could come to terms with noise and the issue of noise from outdoor activities. Could you address that in a more specific way?
They'll be limited to the hours of operation for one. I think it's acceptable for a business to generate noise, not of an undue continuous manner, which nothing I'm proposing is a continuous, all day running piece of equipment. As far as what specifics for noise I'm not sure what metric to use,
Well, we in the past have used the decibel with music venues.
Yeah, and that's easier because they have amplifiers. and
Yeah, I
PA
don't know
systems.
that we would have the wherewithal, the research to set decibel use on your activities. I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah. I think limiting it to non-continuous noise that would address the hours of pressure washing and whatnot.
That's way too vague. Non-continuous is way too vague. I'm a specific person. I like numbers. That's just
If
who
I knew
am.
what I was doing there, that would make it easier. I am going for. This is what the bylaws allow. Can we do it?
Well, then, if you can't, then,
I think it,
You will.
And we will.
we will.
I understand, and
Yeah.
I will leave it up to you, and if it is something that I find egregiously wrong when you write your decision, I'll appeal it.
So come back.
Yeah.
Remind me though, I know you've mentioned, the prior owner of the property had activities there that were not permitted and you're trying to get things in line. It was boat storage. There was minimal like, activity that is in, considered light industrial, like, metal work or, and the state definition and whatnot. If you look at, some of the examples of light industrial, that would be, so those kind of activities were going on. They just
Yeah.
weren't permitted. It was just good old local town was happening over the years.
Exactly,
Could
But
I?
there were
answer that?
activities that were going on there
yes.
that
there have been
generated noise.
For years, yes, that's what everyone is
That
speaking
is a
to.
thing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Not supreme. but-
And in terms of like the grandfathering, you didn't mean that in the official term. You're just talking.
I didn't use the
gen-
word grandfather, did I?
Okay, I think I heard something about that, but there isn't any grandfathered use here.
No, I'm
Okay.
not
No.
suggesting that. I was just trying to compare in my mind, the level of
Okay.
activity and noise to what Lucas is proposing now. I understand where Lucas is ramping up a new business and there will be more activity, but there has been historically activity on this property beyond what was permitted.
Everything I'm proposing at this point is less than what has been happening there.
Less.
Yeah,
Oh, geez, we can't.
I have smaller.
this is, outside the
shouldn't be-
discussion of the DRB. I'm sorry, we're going to stop right here.
Chelsea.
Yes.
wanna Point out that I still would like to have my concern about the restrictions on wood processing addressed by our,
I would be
Reward.
interested to hear it. What?
I'd like if we could call him as an expert witness.
I mean, honestly, at this point, if it's gonna become a no decision because of firewood processing, like, I'll just move it to Grand Isle.
You'll do it in Grand Isle.
I could really. It's just. If that makes everyone happy and everyone feels like they got a win out of this, I'm okay to. Let that one go. If we can have outdoor storage and use the buildings as light industrial for fabrication and has. I would.
Well, I don't know if we can offer you a quid pro quo.
With, you
Well, he can talk to his neighbors.
With guidelines, hours of operation and such, and whatever you deem to be reasonable noise, I'm game to entertain. And
Well, if you'd like to withdraw that part of your application, you're welcome to, but until you do that, I think I would still like to request, getting the tree warden involved.
Well, I think the key question on the trees is the movement of firewood from town to town and what is permissible and what is not permissible. And
I think there's more to it. I mean, they've done in the nuance of the idea of bringing a whole bunch of ash into North Hero from other places.
but that's what I'm saying is establishing, we don't operate on nuances. We operate on what the rules of the state are and what our
Right,
DRB
right.
rules are.
Right.
Our bylaws are.
Our warden is an expert on all of this.
So we will check with the tree warden in terms of any conditions or limitations that we put on that adventure.
I think Lisa had a legitimate question there. If it's not up to us to make the decision here, does Lucas want to withdraw that aspect of the application, in which case we would not need to call in the tree warden.
yeah, I will withdraw the firewood processing, although I am curious, what his ruling is, but I'll reach out on that. And
You can get his number from the town
yeah,
office.
I know a couple foresters, I'm sure. They can
Okay,
fill me in.
so you're formally withdrawing the wood cutting operation at this time
And I
and
will formally withdraw firewood processing on this application at this time. Will reduce the noise, reduce the hours of operation. Well, not the hours, but reduce the amount of noise during hours of operation.
okay, thank you. The hearing is, do I have a motion?
So if you have one more afternoon.
Yeah, we still have other hearings, yeah. But
Oh,
this,
for this hearing,
this is
yes.
this considered a recess or are we closing this, though?
Well, that's what I'm
That's
asking
what I-
right now.
Yeah, so I'm having trouble with that, so I can't.
This isn't the final vote, right?
This is a conditional use. It
no
would be,
final.
there's no final. This is it.
There's Chip has to stand up too.
Yes, Chip.
Let me, did I just hear you say that this is not going to be the final hearing?
That's the
We're
debate right
questioning
now.
that.
The question is, does the board have sufficient information to make this final, or do they have additional questions so that this would be recessed?
Well, I don't.
You
I
don't
could
what?
maybe formulate some things that might get us there, but if that's appropriate, I'll put one out and we'll try for some others.
What?
Okay, here's one. How about the condition that there'll be no exterior storage of any vehicles except boats
I don't think
at
that,
the back of the property?
I think the question is is not the conditions at this point, Chip, but whether we recess or close the hearing.
Oh, well, we should recess then.
Do you have questions that are unanswered?
Yes. So, that was the gist of my question was, what if the proposed storage of exterior storage of boats was solely behind the boat barns?
I can't. There's
That Chip,
setbacks.
it's wetland and setbacks back there.
That's one of the criteria of 6.2 that we didn't discuss, did we?
It's on the
Yeah.
map that he presented. It shows exactly where the storage would be, and it's not in that area that you're concerned about.
And the wetlands haven't been delineated yet, Chip.
Yeah.
So he's going to be restricted and he is getting the wetlands delineator by the end of October, beginning of November.
And I proposed you put a condition in the decision, thank you, brain shorting, stating that I have to adhere to all state wetland rules and regulations.
And if they were behind the boat storage, then there would be no issues of screening.
But
There's a wetland back there, I can't.
he can't put it behind the buildings, Chip.
We're the one that brought this up last meeting.
Chip, between the setbacks, property line setbacks and apparent wetlands, the only storage at this point in time is on the front east corner and west corner, I think I'm saying them the right way, of the property.
In the areas that are not in the setbacks.
In the areas that are not in the setbacks.
That's in front of the the storage barns.
In front of A and D,
And B, and, well,
whatever.
yeah, it's around. But yes, it's all in the front, it's in the map, it's clearly.
So again, I ask the board to,
Elsie, I will move that we close the hearing with Lucas's withdrawal of the firewood aspect of the application. I believe we have enough information that we should close the hearing.
Do we have-
Before you consider that motion, can I ask one more question?
I don't think Robert's rules allow that, do they?
She needs a second. I'll second it, Diana. Now, is there any discussion?
Now, if there's,
Well, I just had another question. Would you
The
consider
discussion's supposed to be on the motion.
yeah.
a movable gate across your driveway?
That's totally out of all of the discussion we've had. That's not appropriate at this time.
Well, okay,
Sorry.
so I will have to vote no then, so we can address some of these other issues regarding lighting and sound.
The movable,
Well,
Okay.
you want to discuss conditions. We can do that until the brew session.
That's a fence
yes.
in a sense.
Right.
It is a
But it is
fence.
a fence.
and we've talked
across-
about fence.
Right, but I don't want to
Fence.
consider conditions without hearing what the applicant, how the applicant feels about these things.
The driveway is very wide,
Mhm.
and fence with a gate would be somewhat impractical, and to get one big enough, I think you'd be obstructing the lines of sight, because you would have to be able to look behind yourself to turn safely out of the eastern
Okay,
parking area.
so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any discussion on the motion? Call the question?
No discussion.
Okay, thank you. Vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Chip?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion
Then-
carries.
It is 8:02 and the hearing is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah. Fine.
Thank you to the interested parties. Thank you for all of the discussion and questions. And thank you, Lucas.
And we have 45 days to get them.
There is 40, the board has 45 days to issue the decision from tonight.
So there's no definite decision.
A final decision.
There's no-
Correct. Decision. Yeah. Okay,
So-
thank you,
So thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very
Uh,
much.
We will move on to the third hearing for this evening, which is 2025-67 DRB. It is a variance review. The owner applicants are Kara Clark and Sarah McMillan and Casey Chiquin.
Yep.
Location 1 Abnaki Road. If you would like to come up and interested parties for this hearing. What, please, would you just say your names?
Sorry,
What?
did you catch?
Yep.
Where did?
Oh, you did put more. Oh, that's.
Were you,
He's making himself as a knot.
were they sworn in?
Are you
Okay.
interested parties? Okay, I don't remember. Do you remember if you
Yes.
were sworn in for this hearing last time? Okay.
And
We're all wrong.
you were all sworn in for last time. Thank you. As I said, I miss our chair being here.
We have any, okay.
Yes, I am supposed to ask that. In terms of members of the board, are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte communication?
No.
No.
Diana and Chip, any ex parte communication or conflict of interest?
No,
Thank you. I do not have any either. Would you like to present your advances from last?
Our
Hearing.
advances, you've been dealing mostly with Derek, our septic
Yeah.
designer.
So well, I guess first thing I would like to, address, in terms of last time, just specifically, I know you guys were very concerned in terms of the wastewater testing not being on the website. So I investigated with Derek, specifically so that I could try and inform everyone, because I wasn't sure either. But it doesn't actually get shown on the website. It won't reflect until we've actually submitted a full design. And so it's not something that you can submit in pieces. And so once we actually make a submission for a septic design, then the state will then approve it or disapprove it. And then we go back to the drawing board from there and so forth. But then those soil tests don't get actually put on the website until that point. And so, and we specifically, in our best interest, we could, in theory, make multiple submissions, but it's about $4,000 every time you do it. So ideally, you only want to really do that once if you can. And so, so unfortunately, at this point in time, just because he hasn't done a full submission, that won't actually be there, but the test pits have been done.
Very close.
We've done the full delineation.
Like in a week, they'll have.
We'll see.
And then the state then has a certain number of days. within each
Exactly,
to approve it, and I
exactly.
can't remember if that's 45 or 50
Exactly.
or whatever
Yeah.
it is, but there is.
We haven't quite
He said
gotten.
something before that doesn't appear on the wastewater website at all.
For the purpose of this hearing, because the question came up last time about the subdivision of the property, could you
Yes.
just address what has occurred since last?
I actually Colleen Joyce, I investigated, I went through my file, and yes, there was an official subdivision to Carroll Club. All the paperwork is in my file.
And it was that plat map. Right?
Yeah,
The one that
Yes.
you had.
the one that I have.
Our lawyers got involved, Kara's lawyers got involved, our realtor got involved.
Everybody got involved. So, and I believe Danielle, I think you saw that plat
I
map.
do, it's in the packet.
Okay.
It's online,
Perfect.
it's in the packet for everyone to see.
Great.
I just wanted that clarified
Definitely.
verbally within the hearing that that is part of the exhibits for this.
Definitely. Yeah, because that was
Indeed.
what put everything in a home. So yes.
just a question, Delcy. Colleen was not sworn in as an interested party last time. And just if she would like to be, I mean, she can't testify obviously without being an interested party, or ask questions, but does she want to be an interested party?
Sure. I thought
I
I was sworn in one.
Uh,
You were
no-
sworn in for your hearing,
For
I
me.
think is what you're thinking. Oh, yeah.
I see that. So, all right. Let me find the paper. Well, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I hereby swear that the evidence I give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury. Thank you.
One other thing I did want to just bring to everybody's attention, just because I know we're sort of doing this out of traditional order of operations. Normally, we would buy the property and then look at developing the property. But because of the fact that the seller had not done anything to actually prove that there's anything buildable on the property, we've had to essentially come up with a contract that protects ourselves, that allows us to be able to do these things, but also we haven't actually
Bought the land. yeah.
exactly, and not until we have done all of our contingencies will we then actually close on it. And so then at that point, we had the plan going around and then introducing ourselves as we would normally do, but because we're doing this all out of order, you know, there's, I think, some.
It was all because of the wetland.
Exactly.
That
And
was first
so,
and foremost, we had to get it delineated before we could really do anything, and that was in our sale contract,
exactly.
so.
So if I could just review here, you're asking for a variance
Yes.
on the road setback. In terms of variances, I'm just going to read the review standards and we'll just go down through the list if that makes sense.
Perfect.
We may grant a variance and only if all of the 5 facts listed below are found and the findings are specified in the written decision that we come to. 1, that there are unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness of lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to the particular property, and that unnecessary hardship is due to such conditions and not the circumstances or conditions generally created by the provisions of the zoning regulation in the neighborhood or the district. And so what you are saying is the wetlands are.
Exactly.
They're the exceptional topography, environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so
I think
we're.
that best fits the criteria on that first one, it's the wetland.
Well, and I think there was a little bit of confusion last time because of the fact that in the usable space, after we had the whole property delineated and marked out, that it's, I believe the map that's got a lot of the blue marking on it, majority
Shows
of
all the
the.
setbacks.
Exactly. It shows all the setbacks, it shows the buffer zone, all of that. There is this little tiny area that's buildable. And so our thought in terms of being able to move slightly forward into that buffer, or into that setback, would just allow for one, as we ideally would like to live here for many years to come, allows as much space for that wetland to change as it does. And then on top of it, we've also, you know, something that would probably be like 5 years down the road, threw around the idea of doing a shed of some sort just for some extra storage, because we don't plan on having any sort of a basement foundation or anything. And so that was our thought, was that if we can then put our house as far forward as possible, we're distancing ourselves from as far from the wetland as possible, but then also would allow us potentially down the road to have a little bit of space to put a shed back there if we wanted.
And breathing room for the septic design.
That as well.
Speaking of the septic design, I believe you talked about what kind of a septic design it was going to be.
Yeah, called a pre-treatment system. So all the black water and gray water, apparently gray water is not really a thing in Vermont, which was news to us, but all the black water from your sink, shower, toilet, all goes into this pre-treatment tank that filters it. Which drastically reduces the footprint and depth of the leach field.
The design, specifically, because
Yeah, what's
I'm
the
gonna cut
brand?
in here just because I've done all this research on it.
Right.
But it's by Premier Tech. It's the EcoFlow is most likely the one that there's multiple companies that design these types of systems. But the EcoFlow specifically, what we really liked about it is that it's got coconut husk filters. So the entire filter is compostable, and supposedly also the water that's being put out of it is basically potable. So.
And do you have an engineer?
Yes,
set up
oh yeah.
for this? I thought you said that you.
Yes, Derek Bevins, he's with Chase and Chase, which has been in business for 25 years. And so,
They're out of Montpelier. Those all talk, just as an aside, those alternative systems have been in use in Vermont and permitted in Vermont for a long time. I mean,
Exactly.
We have one of those and we built our house 12 years ago. Yeah.
I understand that, but
So Delcy,
we need
you,
to understand that.
you referred to the 5
Yes.
criteria.
So that was the first, yes.
That's the first one. In addition, it says in the DRB regs, variance for structures in the flood hazard area overlay shall conform to Article 10. Are we talking about the flood hazard overlay district as well?
We're not
We
in-
just keep talking about wetlands.
They're not in it.
They're
just
not in it,
wetland.
just
Mhm.
wetland, okay.
surprisingly enough.
I know,
Yes.
very surprising.
Um, Number two, number two of the five is that because of such physical circumstances or conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of these regulations, and that the authorization of a variance is therefore necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. And what you are telling us is that by having sufficient land to put the house and the septic system, potentially a shed, but the
Mhm.
shed would not be within the variance zone.
Right.
You're very limited in terms of space.
Very
Exactly, and the
limited.
main thing, and that's part of where, again, we're coming to some issue a little bit in terms of doing this slightly out of order, how we would traditionally do it, is that, you know, essentially, we're being advised at this point by everyone we've talked to try and get a variance because we have that small of a lot that we're working with. But because of the fact that because we don't have the actual septic design in hand, it's hard to go, here's the exact where it's gonna go and here's where the house is gonna go. We've got the idea where the house is gonna go, but we're sort of, at this point, shifting it around a lot to make it fit how we can, if that makes sense. And so yeah, but ultimately, yes. From our septic designer, very small, very limited.
We don't have an exact footprint of the septic yet. The house
Right.
is pretty general. It's, you know, it's
So
32 by 32-ish. But it's the septic footprint we don't know, and there's just very little space. I wish I knew an exact number, between where the house can go, space to the septic, and then to the wetland. And
Exactly.
we're talking like less than 20 feet.
Well, we've
Well,
also,
maybe.
we've specifically designed it so it's stilted, so that ultimately we should be able to put septic, to my understanding, at least somewhat under the house if we needed to. But to my understanding with the EcoFlow, the max square footage, I believe, is about 60 feet that it should take up, and that would be for like a 12-bedroom
20
house.
by
which is
60.
Not anything that we're doing, but again, it's hard because I'm not the, not the
So,
septic designer,
I-
so.
We just.
last time you were here, you said something about a site plan?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have my laptop, but we did forward,
It is in the patch.
It is in the.
It is in the patch.
yeah, sorry, this was like 6 weeks ago.
Can
at
you pull
least.
up the site plan?
Is this it? No. That's not-
It's to scale, despite it being a little crude.
Is it
but-
before or after the houses?
It's the only,
After the houses?
it has to be after the house, because the other one is just a view.
There's a lot of blue.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Is
Is it?
is that it?
The one that-
Unless that's it. That's
No,
not.
that
it.
just
That's
shows the
something
land.
else.
That's the
Yeah.
subdivision,
No, that's
Yeah.
So are you talking about the grayed out aerial kind of view?
I'm not.
Or it's not an aerial view, but.
It is in there, yeah, it is.
Is it in your packet?
It's not actually,
It's not, it's,
I'm not seeing a site plan.
I'm not seeing a site plan either.
See it, but
Right?
that's it.
yeah, that's the one I was looking at, yeah.
It's
There's
the,
a-
Oh,
It's before the house.
it's these, right?
it's before.
The one
Yeah.
before.
Is this what you submitted?
Yes, one of them I
Here,
had
look
the
over here.
house footprint.
Is this it?
This?
Well,
Yes.
this is what I.
It does.
Yeah, yes, that is a, it's just black and white. That's why I didn't recognize it at first.
So the proposed septic
Yeah, so it's very hard to see.
is shown.
Yeah,
on-
it doesn't.
In color, it was, more clear.
Right.
Yeah, right, yeah.
There's- I have color here
And
and
the
I
setback
don't
is-
see the septic.
I don't even. Where's this?
Here, I might
Is-
be-
Yeah, this
Is
hard
this
to
the
look
one
at.
with the pink lines on it?
Yes. This one's not showing the house, which I put on top.
Oh, that's what I got in your email.
I'm.
Let me see if there's something.
Maybe you.
We
said-
did last time.
Right
Here.
here.
You can see this.
Can I ask a question?
So here's the septic.
Yes.
Look at that.
Um,
5 point here, you know.
Do you
This is the house. This is-
Your septic is still kind of, is up
This is
here.
the 20
Exactly.
by So-
But it may possibly.
And so they're
go
asking
underneath
for a
or partially
waiver to
underneath
go
your house.
closer
This
to.
way.
If it's possible, because the fact that it's
To the
still
road.
good, so
Yeah,
we don't
that's
have a
70
foundation.
foot setback as well.
Yeah.
We've been led to believe it may be able to go.
Yeah,
up.
it's as close as possible. That means less piping, less drainage.
Right. I understand.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat your question? I just didn't hear you.
I was asking
It's a town.
if the septic may possibly go underneath their house, partially underneath their house.
Okay.
And they said yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
It's still in process.
The footprint.
And
Yeah.
my follow-up question to that is, the print or the picture that you have. that we looked at, the proposed site plan, is that, is that pretty, hard? That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean,
The reason why I'm asking that is because you do not project my, access road,
that 12-foot access road.
the 12-foot access road. And
Honestly-
the house is right over, and one of your test sites was right in the middle of our access road. So you don't project that, and it may possibly impact your septic and your house.
Right, so if I can clarify just a little, I did the site plan with the house and septic footprint. I did all that before Derek, our septic designer,
Okay.
drove on your land that we didn't even know about because it's a very small sliver that when you're looking at a town map, it just looks like a property line.
Exactly.
So the fact that he drove on that was, it was really no one's fault. It was really unfortunate.
also like, that's why I think that reason is because of the subdivision. The way it was originally subdivided, it was original lot. I had no idea there's supposed to be property markers.
Oh, yeah, there were no
That's what we was
properties.
trying to. And we still have, and there are some.
Really? She was out there with a metal detector for hours.
No,
Couldn't find
Oh,
them.
no, we found them when we went down after you was,
Oh, jeez.
actually.
Can we get back to questions?
Okay.
That would be great.
I'm sorry, we
No,
need to back
Yes.
So
here.
that was my concern, and also concern for you, is that 12-foot access road needs to be configured into.
So
and
we
it
are,
may also be part of your variance, your road front variance, along with your property line variance.
so can I, so I did take, in the site plan I did, we had 25-foot side yard setbacks. And so the proposed location of the house and our development is, it's at least 30 to 50 feet away from the property line. We had to do it like that. It's a law. You have to be 25.
is marked on the area.
And that's your slivers, that access.
Right,
road,
I was going by the picture, so
So-
the way
Which
that,
doesn't show the.
right.
I'm going to cut in here because one of the things that comes up is, number 3 is that the unnecessary hardship has not been created by the applicant. What I'm going to say right now is harsh in terms of what we're looking at, but without having defined site plan, we are just talking ourselves in circles, and it is not appropriate to say what the site plan looks like, what it is. We cannot make any kind of decision against that. I would say that right now, you're creating the hardship of us considering this because we do not have a site plan that is legible and
Well, that's fair,
and keeps everything in place.
Yeah.
I
And
did submit one.
you,
It's just,
Well, and
I don't have it with me unfortunately, which is on me. If the meets.
Well, and I just.
I should have printed it.
But that's what the variance isn't really final because you don't know.
Because we don't know the
Vote
step-
actually-
the step by step.
Well, and that's
We
because
just
we've
fucked-
kind
we
of
don't
been
know
at
the size of
all of this,
Right.
is that
We
we're
just
like
fucked
2
our
steps forward, 3 steps back,
Out of the state.
just because we don't own
Or
it
is there
yet,
additional?
you know, and so
No.
it's. Yeah, I hear you. So we had a feeling that you might say that.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate you telling us that because as opposed to just being like, no, because I did read that you can only apply once. So I appreciate you telling us that and we can come back to this when we are
Yeah,
further in the
we
process.
can come
Uh,
back after I do.
Well, before we go any further, we do have interested parties, and I think it is, Diana, tell me if you agree with this. I think it is appropriate to hear any of the concerns or that of the interested parties, because they can have an impact upon this piece of property. So,
Well,
yes, you may.
I would agree with that, and because in tandem with what Delcy said, I think you need to hear, this is sort of above and beyond our job here, our role, but there are some legitimate concerns that you should look at before you spend the money to buy the property. It's just a caution, you know, because even if you come up with a site plan, there's no guarantee, and I'm not saying one way or the other how the board will rule.
Right, because that is where a site plan is working with land surveyors and engineers who look at the topography, figure out all of what is doable and know the state regulations.
I asked you at one point, Danielle, if you thought we would need a full survey of the property. And I know at one point you said you didn't think so. What would be the case at this point?
That was before the hearing. You will need you will need one,
A full
and that will
survey?
be a condition of,
And there's no
If
record
it's
of that in the
approved.
town.
Okay,
The town that's here zoning doesn't have any
No,
rudimentary survey.
well, the thing is, you're talking about it isn't just the survey, it is the site plan. You are here asking for a variance. And the hardship is that you have wetlands, but you also have the 12-foot, it says access or right of way or whatever, all of that needs to be put on into a single
I
drawing
did,
that
and I submitted it.
includes
And-
the septic system.
Months ago.
Well,
I know,
it's fine.
yeah,
But-
it's fine. I'm happy to redo the plan and resubmit it.
well, I'm looking at all your emails and I just wanna make sure that I didn't skip something.
No, I know, I'm not trying to
Is it the
throw
gray-
blame around,
Is
but
it the
just.
gray one? With-
The one
I
we
mean,
just looked at
The one
here?
I submitted was in color, it was on a,
They got a copy of it in color too. I emailed the packet out. Is it this one?
yeah, yes, that is it.
But that has things on it, the proposed septic.
Correct, it does have the septic
So that,
footprint,
but we
which,
don't know what it's. gonna be.
Exactly.
no, we
exactly.
don't have definitive numbers on it yet. That was an estimate based on what our
Understand.
Yeah,
septic
no,
designer
exactly.
said,
Right.
Yeah.
so. Gotcha.
Yes,
Yes.
please identify yourself.
I talked to Kevin Burt today, head of the state, stormwater. And he said, being so close to wetlands, that might come into consideration also on this, because of the runoff of stormwater. Now, I know the 3-acre rule for stormwater. And he said that also might involve getting an environmental impact study done on this piece, probably before anything. So you're looking at a lot of ifs. So,
The stormwater is based on the amount of impervious.
yes, it is, it's better, but like you said, they're building a house. And, you know, what else do they have planned? The more, you know, they're gonna build a storage building, but they're gonna build a garage. We've got 75 feet for the fire department to access if they have to. So there's a lot of barriers, there's a lot of.
I think as long as the spot, to my understanding from everyone that we've talked to, and that would be the shorelands ecologists, the wetlands ecologists. We've talked to multiple engineers at this point that do all of this stuff all the time. And we've done the wetland delineation, which to my understanding, the wetland delineation literally maps out exactly where that wetland is, exactly the water table and all of those specifics. So to my understanding, based on all of the tests that we've done, and the money that we spent on all those tests to prove all of this, what is considered residential? That's what all these tests have done, is to prove what is residential. And so therefore, I believe the runoff that you're talking about, that concern would be a part of the wetland, very valid. That would not work in the wetland and it wouldn't run properly because of the water table. But we're not looking to build in the wetland. We would be looking to build outside of the wetland, clear of the buffer zones and all of that. Exactly.
And that is what the buffer zone is. Having experience with the wetlands at my property last year, that's what the buffer zone is about.
Exactly.
Wetland and runoff are two different things, where wetland, yeah, I believe they're two different things.
But there is a rule on the amount of impervious per
Right.
the size of, and it isn't related to the wetlands, if I'm correct in my memory. It is related to the size of the lot, etc. So that
And how absorbable the soil is, I would assume, right?
Yes, and the amount of,
Which is,
structures. and
that's what the test pits
that are.
right, and
right?
the structure that they are proposing,
Yes.
and
Right.
that is minimal in
Because
terms of.
This is a complete aside, for the impervious surface issue, if you're elevated on stilts, I think that would, reduce the.
I'm not sure.
No, not if it's,
There's the roof is on top, right? So that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would run off the roof, so that the roof is impervious. It's not like it's all gonna run underneath, but.
Architects, considered impervious surface.
I don't know.
let's not disguise right now.
I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to go back in terms of, I believe the test pits, which are done to literally show where the ground absorbs and the water level and the water table and all of that. They did all of those test pits to prove that the ground is absorbable and that is part of what qualifies it as a residential spot versus a wetland or a shoreland or something else.
I think a part of what they're saying is all the water, if we get a really heavy downpour that's coming off our roof under our house is not absorbing any of that water. So, right, that's what storm runoff, is that what?
Yes. And has wastewater. And the wastewater test been done, because that's.
That's what the test pits are. That's exactly what they are.
Boards will tell you where the water is gone.
Exactly, that's what
Yeah.
those test pits are, yeah.
Okay.
And so again, it just doesn't get put on the website, so you won't actually be able to see it
Right.
until we fully submit it, so
We're very
unfortunately.
close on.
Exactly, and unfortunately, at this point, you'll just have to trust us that we have done all of this by the book according to everybody that we've talked to. And so yeah, but again, we just, we
Can I
can only
ask
do
you
so
a
much.
question?
Yes.
Colleen Joy?
No, but ask us a question, please.
Okay, what I would like to know is the state did say, this is your line, this is where you can go, the wetland, because I mean, I'm next door, so I know there's wetlands. I had them as well when I was building a garage. They
Right.
had to measure everything out. I just want to make sure for you
Mhm.
that somebody said
Yes,
this would be good for you. I feel bad that I
Right.
don't want you to invest your heart and soul and.
well, that's very fair.
Yeah.
Well, and yes, at this point, again, according to all of the studies, because we have been told, and I said this to you guys last time, we have been told from literally everyone across the board, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole, and we went, well, but we're curious enough that we'd like to do the test to see if that's actually the case. And that's the point where we're at, where we've done all of these tests, and they all seem to be showing positive signs. So that's where, again, we
And
just
you
have
have
to
the
go off
results
the
of these
science.
tests, hard copy results of
Hard
these
copy
tests.
from Elijah Schumacher, the
Right.
wetlands ecologist.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
the survey that we don't have.
exactly, yeah, because we haven't had a
If
full.
that's mandatory, then, you know, well,
It's with the state,
Yes.
yeah, Elijah,
because
she.
they are very strict on their wetlands.
Very
That's all-
strict.
That's
Yeah.
all
Well, and that was what Elijah said, was he was like, again,
Yes.
because of the wetlands, he was like, don't touch it.
So our difficulty and what the hardship is by not being able to specifically address where the septic is, where the house is, and exactly what the hardship is for a variance from a town road,
Mhm.
which is very strict.
Yep. No, that makes sense.
And that, so we are in the position where we can't
Move forward.
move
Exactly.
forward because
Right.
you're not meeting all five things
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
variant.
yeah.
And it's DRB regulation, but it's DRB regulation drawn straight from the state red.
Right,
Right.
no, exactly.
And it's also, quite frankly, to protect you as well.
Mhm. Well, and again, we came into this, you know, going based on what we've been advised to do, but I had a very strong feeling that we.
Have you spent a lot of time here?
So,
I found so many websites about wetlands, but no, I don't.
Well,
think
this is
so.
Vermont,
Right.
official Vermont.
Oh,
website.
yeah, we've.
Before you buy
I'm
or
sure
build.
that's from Elijah, so if you talk to Elijah.
yes, exactly,
Correct.
yes, cross consulting.
Elijah is basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, they worked with him and got that.
I don't, I'm a shoreland person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's not in
shoreline.
shorelands, we thought it would be, but it was totally clear of shorelands, and so.
Get an
Do we
approval
recess until
and a specific plan, we can't really.
Exactly,
Yes.
yes, well, and again,
That makes
Yes,
sense.
you know.
so we are in the position that we really can't close, we cannot make a decision other than,
And I totally respect that.
Yeah.
Yep.
and so we will recess it again and you
Well, and maybe we withdraw at this point until we're further along. Cause
How-
it seems silly to push it out another month if we're not gonna be
Yeah, I agree.
any further along.
Come back in like January, February.
Whenever you have the documents.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, whenever the septic
Okay.
is
Whenever
done.
you have a septic permit and.
You have to help us help you.
the site
Exactly.
plan.
Say that this is a hardship.
Well, and I
This is the only
apologize,
place.
again, there's so much.
I know you're going
We're new
ass
to-
backwards on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
So the
understanding.
site
But
plan
as,
would be
as
required
Delcy said, this is for your own protection,
septic
you know that, you said that, you don't wanna buy
yeah,
this land and then find out you can't
based on-
build.
well, and
He
that's where I
provides.
just keep going, okay, we've done all these.
But that's
tests,
kind of a
and
gray area.
That's
Too
what
many
this is all proving,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
so yeah, which again, to my understanding, from what everybody has said, that's what the test pits are proving, is that, you know,
I think you're right.
all that, so,
Our septic designer will do the site plan.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
Yes.
a licensed engineer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, he's the
Yeah.
one who will do it.
Yeah,
And I think again, we've sort of, with the setback last month, that delayed him because there was all stuff on his end anyway, so, yeah.
So
All right.
we will recess, it can be a continued recess.
Are
as
they
I-
withdrawing though? Didn't they just say? they're
Withdraw
withdrawing?
and reapply.
What
Can they do that? They can do that,
Makes sense.
right?
Time certain. Date and time certain, and they can always, adjust that. Right?
Well,
Delcy
was saying we typically recess month to month to month to month,
but not Typically.
January.
But we could, I mean, there's no reason why we,
What would the advantage of with?
well, they wouldn't have to reapply.
Reapply, you'd have to redo your whole. Yeah,
can you
And
recess
who
for 3
knows?
months?
the engineer
We
might
can,
find
we
that
can have
you
them
don't-
withdraw it and
You know,
It-
I
it just-
think
it's fine. Just.
we can waive the
Diane,
fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would waive the application fee and you come in with a clean start.
Okay,
Okay,
Since you put in the application fee and we've come to this position in time.
right, no,
Alright.
exactly. Okay,
So,
I move that we recess.
or
Or
no,
not,
we're
we
going to
don't
close the
recess. We
hearing.
don't have to recess.
have
Yes.
to.
Yeah,
You don't have to do anything.
We don't have to do anything.
We don't do anything, right, Diana?
We're the same
Everything the
email.
same. exact-
Right, if they
Diane?
withdraw,
Yeah,
if they.
Exactly,
if they
yeah, with the
withdraw, we don't have to
adjusted
do it.
document.
We don't have to do
Well,
You don't
anything.
have to do anything. Doesn't have to.
Chip is raising his hand.
Yes, Chip?
are we sure we can waive the re-application fee?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you guys and girls. ladies.
Yeah, very much.
Very nice.
Apologies for the complexity.
So Diana, we've done this before and it's just recorded in the minutes that the application was withdrawn, correct?
Yes, just put a time on it, yes. Thank you.
And no reapplication fee.
Yeah, waiving
Yeah.
the application fee.
Okay.
So as soon as you guys get the site plan, just send it to me so I can get you on the next agenda.
Yes,
Cool.
definitely. Will do.
Thank you very
No,
much.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you
They
guys
should
again.
fill
for your
out a whole
patience.
new form, though.
Say it one more time.
They'll get a whole, they should fill out a whole new form, Danielle, because they'll have to get a whole new number.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
but
that's
if
fine.
you literally just
Thank you.
copy and paste everything.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
we'll be in touch.
Yeah, we can talk about
Tell us what to
Thank you
do.
very much.
it.
We need to go into deliberative session now. So
No,
thank you all.
Well, you have business of the board.
Oh, we have business of the board first.
Yeah.
That's,
You guys are good. to go.
I'm so,
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Bring banana bread next time.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to take your conversation.
Yes,
out.
only, Kate, she'll come back for some.
my 2.5 hours of sleep are showing.
Yeah, me too. Minutes. Anybody need a copy?
Okay. Business of the board, approval of the minutes for the September 11th, 2025.
I move approval.
The only,
I have a couple of edits.
Oh. Did we have a?
July,
Yeah, it says July at the top.
right. And another one,
And the other point, at the end of business of the board, the last sentence, it says Danielle will let Carolyn know when the board meets with the town attorney. I believe what we said was that Danielle will let Carolyn know when the board votes whether to reopen. Versus not when we met with the town attorney. It was when the board voted on whether to reopen or not.
I don't think so. I think we were actually. That might have been what we were thinking, but I don't think that's what we said.
I can go back and listen to the recording again and correct it.
I have one, Will Heist was an interested party on hearing 2025-60 DRB.
Yep.
Do I have a motion for the minutes?
I moved it
Second?
with the amendments.
I listened to the video. I wasn't actually here, so I kind of think should I abstain?
Usually we
Yeah,
abstain.
Yeah.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Zoning administrator report.
I have had, in the last month, I've had, I think, 4 certificates of compliance that I've issued, which I have to do site visits for. I have, an application for an above-ground pool. I think 2, maybe 3 storage sheds, and I have 3 active zoning complaint investigations going on.
No kidding.
Yeah,
That stinks.
never a dull moment in North Hero, that's what I always say. Yeah. And that's it.
So the 3, one is our decision I'm aware of, that's at the environmental court. The other 2 don't involve the DRB.
No, there's 3, that's not included.
No,
That's not a zoning complaint.
That's the zoning complaint.
That's a DRB appeal. That's
Yeah,
that's an
this is what-
appeal of
oh,
a DRB
Oh,
decision.
these are complaints.
These are zoning complaints,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
That's getting late.
Could you ask them to?
Yeah.
Downstairs.
Go out in the cold.
Well, actually, we could go downstairs. It's that room that had books in it, and now it's empty.
Yeah, but the sound.
Thank you, Danielle.
No
That sounds kind of like a full plate.
There's nothing.
Procedures?
What was that, procedures?
I am withdrawing any discussion of procedures for
And
this
David's
evening.
not here, so we can keep going.
David's not here, so regulation updates.
The only thing, I know, that they took up the setback at the select board. It was on their agenda, but I didn't go.
Oh, the
Um,
75 foot.
Yeah, I think the select board took that up, but I didn't go and I haven't looked at their minutes. Indication was they were gonna approve it.
Yes, I think that I might be wrong. I think what Andy told me is that they were leaning toward approving it, but they didn't approve it and they were gonna discuss it at their next select board meeting, I
Oh,
think is what
okay.
happened.
I think Andy told me they approved what he recommended, which was the comma, 75 feet. But
Oh, okay. I thought there was
meeting,
a-
there is a meeting coming, I believe, on the 20th.
Diana, did it say, I thought I heard somewhere that he said that it was going to be shoreland protection, comma,
Yeah.
minimum 75 feet.
Yeah,
Is that-
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
That's what they proposed.
Yeah.
Okay. Other business, Diana, budget.
Budget. We have to get the budget to the select board by the end of this month. So, I believe Danielle sent it out. We just need to go down one by one and see, what we want to put in.
Yeah, you want this? There's a couple other copies up there too.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want a hard copy, over there, Patty?
No, that's it. I have to. Thank you.
Can we go one by one? Are people ready?
Yep.
This would be for fiscal year 26, 27, starting July 1. But they need to have it. So obviously, we probably could even take this off our list. Clerk, FICA, childcare, because now that's all rolled into contracted services. Or we can leave it on as zeros.
Well, I'm confused about what these columns are. There's no like information in the budget column.
It's the proposed.
This is the proposed budget for 26, 27.
Oh, right, in our actuals for year-to-date so far?
Oh,
That's
that's,
not here.
Lisa has not filled that in. She said they get the contracted services quarterly and she's just putting all that stuff in, so it's not gonna show up until next month.
Well, maybe we should wait till we have some data to compare this to.
Well, we can't because we need to get it to the select board by the end of the month and we need to get it to them now and it's not over until June 30th. So it's just an estimate of what we think our budget's gonna be.
Right.
And I think we can go through it pretty easily. Again, the top three, we can leave as zeros or we can even eliminate it. What?
Just leave them.
Okay.
It shows the migration to contracted services.
Yeah.
Contracted services might be a couple of thousand.
What was the budget last year, Diana, for contracted service?
Services was 18,000.
So it's going up basically 2,000.
Well, we had to loan planning commission 2,000 basically because they didn't have enough in their budget. So we basically it washed out there. Andy suggested we put in 20,000. He's the one doing the negotiating with them. And he says that will be more than enough. So that's why we have 20,000 there. Legal, we need to go up.
What's the change?
It used to be 4,000, by the way. In the past, we'd had it at 4,000 and we hadn't really used it, so we lowered it. But the appeal, which we don't want to get into details, but the appeal is liable to be on this fiscal year, which means we'll probably go over budget for this fiscal year, but as again, we only have 2,000 in it. But
It strikes me that, the nickel and dimes, when, you call, Mike, that's a number, and then an appeal is another number. And it strikes me that we might as well budget for the nickel and dimes, whatever that is, $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year, and then one appeal, which is like $3,000. I don't know the real number. I can't remember. And put it in, so we come in under budget.
as a separate line item,
A contingency for appeal, yeah.
As a separate line item or as one line? item?
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I hadn't thought about it that
Well,
way.
she asked that, not me. It wasn't my idea, but it sounded like a good one.
I hadn't thought about it,
Good idea.
but that shows responsibility. I think
kind
that's a
of
good idea to separate it out.
Consulting, legal and,
Yeah, consulting, legal.
and then.
Actually, aren't the appeals, those are select board expenses, those
No,
aren't ours.
I was told, I asked that, Lisa. I was told technically they're going to take it out of our budget.
Wait, we don't have any control of it at this
But
point.
But
They're the ones
They
that
approved the appeal.
and they're the ones that make a case, if they want to make a case or not.
I totally agree with you, but it was suggested by the chair of the select board that we put it in our budget.
Then I think a separate line item that we put in our budget for $3,000, if that makes sense.
Is
Right.
that what an appeal
Yep.
is?
That's a good suggestion, because, so we'll do DRB legal consulting 2,000 and DRB legal.
So how about select board appeals?
Do you want to put it, the
I'm just
word
kidding.
appeal, or what do we say?
To select board.
I'd put, DRB appeal, paren contingency.
Oh, good
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
And how much do you want to put in there? 3,000?
3,000.
Okay, that works for me. All right. Computer services was 0. I don't know that computer service software and 0. Postage, Danielle, we had 800. Postage is going up. But last year for postage, we had 650. Is 800 going to be enough?
I have no idea, honestly. I don't keep track of it when I use the machine.
Yeah, but we're also doing more mailings, right?
That's true, we are, yeah.
Does, when you go through and does it post our account on the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I suppose there is a way to track it, obviously, but I don't know.
Like Xerox copies.
But I don't, I
Like
don't.
Xerox copies are charged to your department.
Right,
Kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll get it at the end of the year.
So leave it at 800?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, advertising 800. Do we have to pay for front page form, Danielle?
No idea.
I
I
don't-
just created an account. I created an administrative account for the town. And I posted it. I don't get bills or anything for it.
Well, shall we leave it at 800 last year? Advertising
Gosh, it seems like.
was
we're late.
800 and we spent 822. Actual fiscal year 24-25, we spent 822. So let's keep it at 800 then, if that's okay. Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, copy printing, we had 200. Last year we used nothing. You want to we can leave it at 200 or put it at 0?
Well, sometimes I think it would make more sense for us to print out a big copy for our meetings, because people come, they send in their stuff, they think it's colored, for instance. Well, a colored drawing looks way different, and we don't have a color printer in North Hero, but you can get a color print made in town. Just so we have the documents in a good format to be able to look at and someone can point us to them.
I agree.
I mean,
No,
how
I
do,
don't want the whole packet printed out, like the select board gets their whole packet thing. I don't, you know, we're all on our laptops. I don't need that. But boy, these handwritten drawings and like the one we were just looking at, that was gray scale, you couldn't see a thing. I know.
I mean, so.
Or even a large, you know, even sometimes looking at the
Well,
large maps.
In the past, we've asked the applicants to bring those.
But
As
people
hard-
aren't bringing them, you know, I mean, I have never seen hard copies
I think
coming here
that-
unless it's an engineer.
I think on the applications, it only requires, it says no larger than 11 by 17, but I think it says something about,
Mylar size somewhere.
8 by 11 is acceptable. I have to double check on that.
So why don't we leave it at 200?
I'll cut that out. Yeah.
No
I don't know.
procedures. Let's discuss what applicants must bring, Delcy.
Well, it doesn't have to
That
be.
doesn't go in
I mean, but
procedures.
it could be,
No.
That goes,
In the
we need an
application.
operation.
Blueprints. you
Manual.
know,
Yeah, that's what,
You mail in the soft copy and they print it and you go and pick it
Yes,
up.
move on the budget here. I'm just trying to move. Leave it at 200.
I think so.
Okay.
Just.
Meeting
these-
travel, we have as 100. Last year, we put in 450, we spent 255. We did a couple of trainings. I don't see a training. If there's a training this year, it's probably gonna be a free training. It'll come through Northwest Regional or VLCT, and then the town usually pays for it. I mean, I don't think we need more than 100 in there.
Well, the only person we're paying for is Danielle, right?
No, last year, remember, we did the,
couple of people went last year.
we did for trainings.
Down miles.
I don't.
I'm gonna charge them 31 miles.
Leave it at 100.
Okay. DRB supplies, 50, we practically never spent anything, but we might, I don't know what we use it for, but might as well leave 50 in there. And DRB decisions, we don't pay anyone for that anymore. You want to leave that in or take it out of the budget?
I like leaving it in. It's visible. It shows the transition.
All right, so then the only change that we've made in the budget is that we've added and we put legal consulting, leave that at 2,000, and legal appeal, parentheses, contingency, 3,000. Correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I will get this to the select board then. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we go into deliberative session. Do I have a motion? Do we need a motion to
No.
go into deliberative session? We
No,
don't, do
We
we?
don't,
Okay,
and we ask every time.
I know it. It is 8:57 and we are going into deliberative session. At 9:02, we have come out of deliberative session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I.
So that sounded.
Christine moved.
Thank you, everybody,
Lisa,
and
second.
thank you for your patience.
Great
I
job.
I do not run a tight meeting. I run a loose meeting.
You did great.
You did great.
That's also on here.
All right. Bye. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, Diana.
I don't know who takes this.